Hello, my name's Hannah Bailey and I'm one of the Burnsley Homes device doctors. What I'm going to show you today is are the accessibility options on the iPad. Just so you know, what I'm showing you today will also transfer over to the iPhone and also the iPod Touch. The reason why I'm showing you the accessibility options is that devices such as iPads and iPhones and other modern mobile devices can really aid the independent living of people living with sight loss and hearing loss as well. So they're becoming more and more important in that way. I'm also going to show you them because I think they can be a little bit scary if you don't use them yourself every day. So I'm going to start with the scariest one, which is VoiceOver. What VoiceOver does is it basically reads back to the person who's using it what's on the screen. But VoiceOver does more than that as well, in that it completely changes how you actually interact with the device. And that's what's pretty scary if you accidentally turn it on, is you don't know what you've done, you don't know how to turn it off. So, to start with, the first thing I'm going to show you to do is how to turn VoiceOver off and on really easily. I do suggest you have Siri set up because that is the easiest way to do it. And that's what I'm going to demonstrate now. So to turn Siri on, we press and long hold the home button. Turn VoiceOver on.
Okay, I've turned on VoiceOver.
Single tap the home button to close Siri. To open Siri again, press and hold the home button, and I'm just going to turn VoiceOver off. Turn VoiceOver off.
VoiceOver off. I've turned off VoiceOver.
Believe me, that's a million times easier way of doing it than going into the settings and playing with it there. So anyway, because I'm demonstrating VoiceOver, I'm just going to turn it on again. Turn VoiceOver on.
Okay, I've turned on VoiceOver.
Brilliant. So single tapping the home button to get back to my home screen here. Right, the first thing you'll notice after you've turned VoiceOver on is there'll be a box around the icon for the application in the top left-hand corner. Another thing I need to warn you about now as well is VoiceOver does what it says on the tin. It talks over what it is you're doing on the screen. So there will be a bit of background noise of me talking over VoiceOver. So apologies for that ahead of time. Anyway, the first gesture I'm going to show you is the flick. So you'll notice your apps, they're in columns and they're in rows. So you can just basically flick through them. If VoiceOver was switched off, you would just tap the app you wanted to open. You can't do that anymore.
FaceTime.
So,
double tap to open. Swipe up or down to select a custom action. Then double tap to activate.
By swiping left to right, I can scroll my way through the apps. So let's say that I want to open Notes. I will just
Calendar,
keep
photos,
swiping
contact, clock, home,
through
maps, videos,
the apps
photo, notes.
Until it
Double
lands
tap to open.
on
Swipe up or down to
Notes.
select a custom action. Then double tap to activate.
You will also use the flicking gesture to move through the options that are on a screen as well. Okay, we'll now notice that we now have Notes highlighted. If I want to open the Notes application, I'm moving on to our next gesture, which is the single finger double tap. So once you have selected your option, in this case Notes, you don't have to double tap directly onto the notes, you can double tap anywhere on the screen. And that's one of the best things about the single finger double tap gesture is, as I say, you can tap anywhere. So here I go to open Notes. There we go. We are now in Notes. And I'll just demonstrate that flick again. VoiceOver will start in the top left hand of the screen. So if I swipe
Delete note button.
Left
Double
to
tap
right,
delete the current note.
It's giving me the other options on the screen. So it's giving me the option to delete. If I swipe again, it'll give me the option to double click on share. Swipe again, it'll give me the option to start a new note. So I'll just do that left to right.
Share note, new note.
And I can also go backwards,
Double tap
right
to share note. Delete note.
to left.
Notes. Back. Delete note. Share note. New note. The 12th of May 2017 at 12:40. Note. Android is a
There
mobile
we go.
operating system. Link.
And
Developed
that
by Google.
that covers
Based on the
two of the
wireless
basic
link.
gestures
And
you
designed
need
primarily
for
for
voiceover.
touchscreen.
Okay, the next gesture I'm going to show you is the two-finger double tap, which is possibly the most useful gesture in voiceover. Very simply, what it does is it stops and starts. So if I show you on this text here, if I double tap with two fingers, roughly a thumb's distance apart, so here we go,
System. Link. Developed by Google. Link. Based on
it will start
Linux
reading
link.
what is on
And
the
designed
screen.
primarily for
If I want to stop
touchscreen.
that,
Link.
double tap with two fingers again. Now there's more than just stopping and starting text that two-finger double tap does. It'll answer phone calls for you, it'll stop and start your voicemail, it will stop and start timers, stopwatches, videos that you're watching, music that you're playing. It's the most possibly popular used function within VoiceOver. It's essential for someone who's going to be using VoiceOver. And that's really that one. I'm going to move on to some other gestures now. The other gesture I'm going to show you is the two-finger swipe up and down. If you swipe up, it will start reading from where you left off.
Link. System. Link. Developed by Google. Link. Based on the
If you swipe down, it will start reading from the beginning of the page.
Note. Android is a mobile operating link system. Link. Developed by Google. Link.
So that's really handy if you're using audiobooks, if you're navigating through a web page, anywhere where you have a large body of text. Okay, the next gesture I'm going to show you involves three fingers. And in order to show you this, I'm going to show you in Safari. So I'm going to single finger double tap to open Safari, because I've already selected it.
Safari. Open main menu. Link.
And here we are on a web page on Wikipedia. So three fingers swiping on the screen allows you to move through web pages or pages. Sometimes you can move up and down, say on a web page. If I was reading a book or having a book read to me, it might work left to right and right to left. So I'm just going to show you on the web page. So three fingers on.
Page 2 of 59. Page 3 of 59. Page 4 of 59.
There we go. I am moving sequentially through the pages that are on the screen. And if I go the other way, so from top to bottom.
Page 3 of 59. Page 2 of 59. Page 1 of 59.
There we go. So that is how you move through pages and web pages when VoiceOver is on using three fingers. Okay, the next gesture I'm going to show you is my favourite one. It's the two-finger scrub. Basically, that is using two fingers to do a Z, and you do it quickly. It can take a bit of a knack to pick up. I imagine that I'm doing the Z for Zorro when I'm doing this one. So it's a very useful function. It will close the control center, close down notifications, and those annoying pop-ups that appear when you're surfing on the internet, it'll get rid of those too. It also allows you to go back a step. So I've been looking at the Android operating system on Wiki, so I'm going to use the scrub symbol to go back a page to look at the last website I was looking at.
Previous page. Action.
And there we go.
Button.
I was looking at the learnmyway.com website. So it's a great way to be able to erase a function, go back a step, and end a task. Now I am going to show you the last gesture that just uses your fingers. So clearly we've used 1, 2, 3, and it's no surprise we're about to use 4 fingers. It's the 4-finger double tap, and it shortcuts to open help. So here we go.
Starting help. To stop help, perform a 4-finger double tap or 2-finger scrub, or press escape on the keyboard.
And there we go. So if you need to access help, that's how you access help.
Home. Stopping help.
Finally, I'm going to tell you about something which is called the rotor function. It's too complicated for us to show you in a quick overview guide of how VoiceOver works. But basically the rotor function involves a twisting motion on the screen, a bit like you're undoing a bottle of fizzy pop, and it allows you to fine tune the settings. The reason why I'm not showing you it is because it depends on the context of where you are, and our friends at hadley.edu have made some amazing guides which will show you in a way better way than I possibly can. So I hope you found the quick tour of VoiceOver to be some use for you. As stated, if you want to find out more about how to use VoiceOver to a professional level, see our friends at hadley.edu.